Something for the weekend?
Hello, everybody. It's Something for the Weekend, week 3, with me, Simon Holden, the Sheriff of Tippingham, and that man, Derek McGovern, the McGuvnor. How are you, Del Boy?
Very good, very good. It's been a great week to be a Liverpool fan.
Well, yes. No need to start with the bleak stuff, Del Boy. I'm in a lot of pain here. Anyway, I must start by saying thank you for all the feedback from week 1 and week 2, at least the stuff that we can read out. And what I will say is, Del, you went 2 from 2, an absolute clean sweep, swept the board, 11-2. The shock, but it wasn't a shock to you, Tottenham to beat Man City, leave Pep crying at the end, and Leeds to not get anything. They were spanked 5-0, so 11-2, and about just under 6-4, 13-10. So well done. That must have been very pleasant viewing those games.
It was. I mean, the Tottenham one in particular, City are there to be beaten at the moment, and Tottenham certainly did a number on them. I thought they were great, Spurs. And the other game, Arsenal to beat Leeds 0. I mean, Bucky should have just paid me out as I put that bet on, as I said last week, because it was like finding money in the street. It really was, and never in doubt. I think there was one save Raya made from a corner, the Arsenal keeper, David Raya. But other than that, Leeds didn't lay a glove on them. So I'm feeling very smug at the moment, as I normally do.
Yeah. Now Del's a very humble man, very modest man. He told me that yesterday. He said, my modesty is one of the most brilliant things about me. It's wonderful what he said. But he's not the type to crow. Now, folks, we are going to give you the preview. You want the big game of the biggest game of the season so far, when Liverpool welcome Arsenal, if that's the correct word, to Anfield. And we'll start with that. But we're also going to cover Newcastle. Not Newcastle, what am I talking about? We're going to Chelsea v Fulham. Easy for me to say. Oh, that'll be the second game. But I can't start, Del. You talked about having a good week, without asking you to comment on the situation at Old Trafford. I mean, I read a headline yesterday on Yahoo Sport that said Grimsby put on the map by beating Man United. And I thought, well, if nothing else, that's bad news for the map, isn't it? But you must have absolutely giggled till midnight that night as United, who I thought would have a good season, United and Villa. So it shows what I know, what my start to the year. But United seem to be, well, is crisis an overblown word? I'm not sure it is.
No, it isn't. It's an underblown word. I mean, they finished 15th last season. The 16th this season won't go any higher, looking at the way they're playing. And how long is it going to take them to wake up with this manager? He's pretty much a clown, isn't he? I mean, he's made every player he's taken on worse. And when you consider how bad they were under Erik ten Hag, that takes some doing. I don't know how he's still in his position. I mean, I've heard rumours this week that he's been given 3 games to save his job. He's asked for one of those games to be this season, one next season, and one the season after.
the next World Cup, yeah. Yeah. Well, absolutely right.
He's got to go, I think. But that was fantastic viewing in the week.
There are 2 hugely pivotal in the next manager to go. Obviously, if Man United were to get beaten at the weekend, the pressure will start to build. And I think if West Ham, I think that trigger finger with the old Sullivan must be getting near for Potter. So I know a lot of people over the last 2-3 years, I think it's gone up about 300-400%, the bookmaker revenue in this first manager out, or then going to the next manager out. So a very, very key market. And of course, there can only be one winner. It's one of them markets, isn't it? But I think if you're on either Amorim, who I think's gone jolly, or Graham Potter, you've got to be watching those 2 games thinking, am I one game away from copping? And do you think that it's too early for the first sacking, Del?
No, not at all. People always, people say, oh, it's terrible. English football's gone like Italian football. Remember Italian football a few years ago? A manager would be there about 3 weeks and then he'd get the boot and another one would come in. A bit like Watford nowadays. But no, I disagree. If a manager comes in and he's not suited for that role, get him out as quick as possible, before more damage is done. Potter is clearly not suitable for the West Ham role, and he should be the jolly for that market. I'm not saying he's doing a worse job than Amorim. I mean, I don't think anybody could. But Man United have given Ruben Amorim, their manager, about 200 million this summer.
Yeah,
you know, and they're going to look at like the bigger clowns than the manager if they jettison him now. Whereas Potter hasn't been, you know, he really hasn't been back with much dough, has he? He looks like a man who's waiting for his P45, to be honest. And the way I mean, United have been awful this season, but West Ham have been even worse. So yeah, I think Potter's nailed onto a go, and it wouldn't be surprising if he goes before the international break.
Yeah, so that could be a bet you are cashing. But one headline in the Newcastle paper that I did see this week, that police are looking for 11 Scousers and a bald guy after an extremely vicious robbery on Monday night in the area. So let's hope they can track them down. Now, Del Boy, you have to admit, how the hell did you get 3 points? I'd say, I'm going to be completely honest. I watched the game when Anthony Gordon got sent off. Obviously, the goal goes in. I switched off. There's a new Netflix drama I've been not exactly hanging on for, but I thought I'm going to have more fun than watching. I know how this is going. Then, of course, it goes 2-0. Then I get the text. Newcastle have got one back. And I made the huge error of turning off this awful drama, putting on the game again, just as I turn over. Newcastle make it to all the old Desmond, and then have a series of corners. And I just thought, I know what's going to happen here. I've seen this play out. We've said before, you are the kings of the late winner, and you pop up again. But I mean, it was one of the great robberies in football history, was it not?
Well, it was. And the big surprise was how easily Liverpool were outplayed by 10 men. Newcastle had 10 men, and they looked like they had 14. I'm still struggling to come to. I mean, I think one of the pundits on TV said tomorrow morning they'll be made up tonight. Liverpool got 3 points, but tomorrow morning in training or whenever they return to training, they're going to be thinking, "Well, something's not right here," because it was so easy to get at. And yeah, it was a robbery. I mean, it was a robbery, but 3 points on the board for Liverpool. That's all they're worried about, isn't it?
Well, it is. Now, folks, let's take a look at the prices before we get Del Boy's view on the game. Like I said, it's the biggest game of the season so far. It has become the pivotal game, the big game. Of course, for many years was Liverpool Man U. It then became Arsenal Man United. And I think it's fair to say, Del, that this is now the pivotal game in the league. Liverpool are at best price 5-4 with Betfred, the old Man U fan. Fred don't fancy taking them on. And Betway, the best two prices in the village. If you do want the home team, you can go there. You'll beat the exchange price currently, which is interesting, of course, and no commission. Arsenal are a best priced 23-10 with AK Bets. I'm going down the line. I can see plenty of 9-4, which people may think is big, and the draw. Hint, that's what I will be punting. You can get currently 13-5 with Coral Leisure as your biggest price in the village, which will also beat the current exchange price. Now, we talked about the reaction to Monday night, but I just wonder what the Arsenal camp thought watching that, Del. Would that, as you said, leakiness at the back mean that Arsenal may come here with a change in tactics and be more aggressive?
Well, yeah, too right. They must have been licking their lips, Arsenal, watching Liverpool on Monday night. And I'm with them as a punter. If you have only one bet this weekend, make sure it's Arsenal to beat Liverpool. In fact, if you have 10 bets this weekend, make sure they're all Arsenal to beat Liverpool.
Yeah, them all, yeah.
I mean, 11, what is it? 23-10, a shade over 11-5 in old money. I would say, looking at what we've seen so far, that is on the generous side of lumpy. Just like your physique, actually, Simon. I think, you know what? Both sides have got 6 points from 2 games so far this season, but the similarities end there because Arsenal have pretty much deserved their 6 points. Liverpool have deserved none. I thought Bournemouth outplayed them on the opening night. Remember, we were on at 8-1. We could have had a nice payday on opening weekend there. And then they were outplayed by Newcastle, 10 men, Newcastle on Monday night. Something is seriously wrong at Liverpool at the moment, and I think they're a loser waiting to happen, and we're not going to have to wait too long. Sunday, in fact, I think it's been a long time since I've felt so confident about a Premier League bet. Well, one that doesn't involve opposing Everton, I just think Arsenal are real good things here. I think they're a much better side than Liverpool. They're going to win the league. They'll go to Anfield with confidence. In fact, the last 6 times they've met, Arsenal haven't lost. 4 times has finished in the draw, which backs up what you've been saying. 2 times Arsenal have won. And that was when Arsenal didn't have a striker. It looks as though they've righted that wrong now. Jury's still out on Gyökeres, but I think there's a lot to play with there. And I'm really, really confident about an Arsenal victory this weekend.
Wow. So, folks, I get Del Boys a thank you for his work, and all expenses weekend to Grimsby, and he responds by ridiculing me and Everton in one short spell. So, gratitude for you, that, isn't it? Right.
By the way, Sam, just going quickly. Remember when I said last week about Mo Salah, the most overrated player in Premier League history?
Yes, he did.
Just to watch him on Monday night. Well, if they did watch him, they'll come round to my way of thinking. That's the only proviso to the Arsenal bet, by the way. I think Arsenal are real good things. But, this is going to surprise you. If Salah is dropped, and he should be, my confidence in an Arsenal win would be lessened because they'd then be meeting a Liverpool team with 11 players rather than 10. That's what I think of Liverpool when Salah is in the team. They're playing with 10 men. He might pop up with a goal and he's all of a sudden he's a hero. And so for 1 second of, clinical finishing, the other 94 minutes of uselessness is totally forgotten. And that sums up his career at Anfield. 94 minutes of uselessness. And everybody
is Armstrong strong enough in terms of is he strong enough mentally, but in terms of his position in the club, is he strong enough to drop Salah?
Well, see that every time I have this argument last season, people were saying, "Well, Klopp never dropped him. Slot hasn't dropped him. He must have something." And I said, "Well, Slot's not going to drop him because he's too scared to drop him. It's his first season at Anfield. He knows if he drops him, all the idiots who think Salah's a hero will get on his back." I'm a bit worried that he must see the limitations of that man. He must see, and I've got a feeling. If he's not in the team on Sunday, Mo Salah, I won't be surprised at all. I think Slot, not Klopp. Slot will wake up soon. Well, he will have woken up. I don't think they've got the problem with Salah is that they don't think they've got a ready-made replacement for him on the right flank, have they? Chiesa is not the man. Harvey Elliott clearly is not the man. So if they had someone decent on that right flank competing for this place, that other player would be in. It wouldn't be Salah.
Now, of course, the great centre half who's been, Salah gets the plaudits, but I'll be honest, I think the centre half been your best player for the last 3 years. Is he losing a yard of pace? Yes. Yeah, and I don't mean the goalie. Is he losing a yard of pace, the big man?
Well, yeah, but have you noticed something about Virgil van Dijk? He never seems to sprint. I think he's too cool to sprint. I don't think he needs a shower after the game. And he's such a great player that, even if he loses a yard of pace, I don't think it's going to handicap him that much because you never see anybody take him on anyway. And remember John Barnes, who was my favourite ever Liverpool player? He was just flying wing and he just, took defenders on for fun. And then when he lost a bit of pace, he went back into the midfield role and was still the best midfielder in the Premier League for about 5 seasons. So the truly great players don't rely on just pace.
No. Yeah, true. John Barnes, I can't think Salah's fit to lace his boots personally, but there you go.
He isn't.
I will just play a slight devil's advocate here. I'm a great advocate of the draw in these things, but you're making a very cogent case for the visitors. Of course, about the only team that have had Liverpool's number over the last 2-3 years, like you say, unbeaten in 6 with 4 draws and 2 wins. But Liverpool's home record is quite simply sensational, Del. And that must include games where they have not had the play. So that I'm just drawn by that 13-5 draw with Coral. I think that the draw being the biggest of the 3 outcomes, I just can't have that. I just think you've got a team that find a way of squeezing a result like Monday. But it does get harder and harder. We said this a couple of weeks ago. You can only pull the rabbit out of the hat so many times with these 93rd, 94th, 95th minutes. And it might be that one day somebody comes along, has the play, and has the players to punish you and puts you away 3-0. So it doesn't matter what you do in the 95th minute. And from what I'm hearing, you think this Sunday could be a bit of a judgment day for all these bad performances.
Yeah, I do. I think Arsenal have gone there. I don't think this is the strongest Arsenal team I've seen for a few years. And they'll go to Anfield, and maybe they've been a little bit cautious, a bit conservative in their approach in recent seasons. Hence, so many draws in the last 6 meetings. But they'll go there, having seen what Liverpool have served up in their opening 2 matches in the Premier League, and think, well, we've got nothing to be scared of here. I really do think that's how Arsenal will go. I think they're a very tidy side, and I think they'll wrap up the league by about February.
Wow. Big, strong words from the McGuvnor. Right, folks, this is it. It's a time to bet like Mandel Boy says, 23 to 10 AK bets, plenty of 9 to 4 and 11 to 5. If you disagree and you think that Slot will do it again, you can get that 5 to 4 with Betfred. And if you agree with me that the draw is way too big, then you can get 30 to 5 with Coral. But it's all aboard the Arsenal train. And one thing's for sure, if they do come here and do a number on Liverpool, they surely will go outright clear favourites to win the title. The title betting won't hinge on one match, of course, but whoever is favourite hinges on this match, Derek, surely.
Yeah, if Arsenal win on Sunday, and I expect them to, they'll be title favourites. And I'm surprised they're not already, to be honest. I know both teams are on 6 points, so why would Liverpool not be favourites, given they were favourites at kickoff? But
yeah.
Come on, Liverpool are a defeat waiting to happen. Arsenal aren't.
Well, strong words. It's the Arsenal profit train, folks. So get on aboard. Now, the Saturday lunchtime TNT sports game. We will not in chronological order, but we had to start with that since it's such a pivotal match. But there's a big game tomorrow at the Bridge, 12:30 kickoff. Let me give you the best prices. Fulham, travel the short distance across the road, basically, to Chelsea, and Fulham are 5 to 1 with Betfred. They're certainly having a go at being the best price this week. And BetMGM, who surely have the silliest adverts out there. Chelsea are best priced 4 to 7. Chelsea, of course, who have won 10 of their last 12 in all comps. And if you fancy the draw, 7 to 2 with Bet365 would be your place to head. Now, I've just said that stat, 10 wins in 12 for Chelsea in all competitions. However, Del, have they been slightly underwhelming in the first 2 games?
Massively underwhelming. That opening day draw with Palace, I mean, they were very poor, weren't they?
Yeah.
Anyone who takes a blind bit of notice of their 5-1 win over West Ham hasn't watched West Ham. I mean, 5-1 win over West Ham is actually a bad result, I think, looking at the way things are going. I mean, I look at these prices, and I know there have been some bad bets already this season, many on this broadcast. But Chelsea at 4 to 7 to beat Fulham takes the biscuits. I'm sorry. Chelsea fans got excited when they beat PSG in the Club World Cup final. But then a few weeks later, Tottenham almost beat PSG, so the growing had to stop. The form wasn't franked at all. And I noticed that the Blues, Chelsea, are 3 to 1 to finish in the top 2. And that seems awfully short when you consider that they won't. I mean, the top 2 is nailed on Liverpool and Arsenal and Liverpool. The thing about Chelsea is it's hard to catch them right. I mean, some days you think you link up, there's something there, and then other times you look absolutely chronic. And do you want to back a team of 4 to 7 who are capable of being chronic, a week after being good, or a week before being good? I just, you can't take chances at long odds on teams that you can't trust. I noticed last night they've signed Alejandro Garnacho from Man United, the world's greatest trans footballer, he looks like. We signed him for 40 million. And if Chelsea sign a player for 40 million, it tells you one thing, he's worth 20 million. I mean, you look at the players they've signed and you know that, they've overpaid for pretty much all of them. The thing about Fulham are the opposite of Chelsea. You look at them and you think, how much is this? You look at the team sheet and you think, these aren't great. And yet the manager has them playing so well. I like Fulham. I don't think anybody has an easy time against them. And I reckon that's around about 5 to 1. Is it 5 to 1? You said the top price. I think that's.
Let me just see now. It is. Just had Slot trying to get in on the broadcast. We've got 5-1, available with Betfred and BetMGM. So, I mean, you see, I spoke to you before about I have a sort of pack of teams who, once they get to a nice price, they're the sort of teams who can beat everybody. But I don't particularly trust that 11-10 odds on at home against the bottom sides. And Fulham come into that batch where I think that is quite a tasty price. Of course, Chelsea have become, under this manager, Maresca, have become a much more like steady outfit. But Fulham are a very, very well-managed team, aren't they? And they come here in decent enough form. And I think I'd have them about 7-2 here, 100-30 maybe. I think 5-1 is taking the whatever. I think that's way too big.
I think I had the good value bet at those odds. I think you'd be thanking for me for highlighting it, even if they lose. To be honest, Simon.
And it's
what I like most about the 5-1 is I'm already on. I just think
you like most about that,
these supposed big teams right now, Arsenal apart, are worth opposing. I mean, we opposed City last week. We got the job done at 11-2. Chelsea are very opposable. Liverpool certainly are. I'm still bitter that Bournemouth didn't get the result they deserved on opening night, because what an 81 payout that would have been. So don't be blinded by all the big six are miles ahead of all that. They're not at the moment. It might turn out they are coming around about Christmas when all the form settled down. But right now, take a chance on the big prices.
Yeah, I think that's right, and because it isn't as simple as the odds suggest. Folks, take a look at the betting sheets. It's often a good trick to do to back up what Dell's saying. Take a look at the tipping sheet, the odds checker, take a screenshot, and then on Tuesday morning when everything's played, see how many odds on shots did not cop. You can do it week after week after week. And doing an exercise like that really changes your mindset, as Dell's saying. Take teams on. You have to have a lower strike rate. And at this time of the year, you're right, I have not been wildly impressed by the top teams. And it's football. Look at the other day. Newcastle played fantastic. Sorry to keep coming back to that game, Dell, but they got nothing, didn't they?
Yeah, I should have looked at the in-run and odds. I mean, what with 10 men, 2-0 down to the champions, what price Newcastle would have been, to get a victory? I know they didn't.
I think they got to 50s at one stage.
50s. To be honest, I wouldn't have backed them at 50s, 2-0 down, with only 10 men.
Yeah.
As badly as Liverpool were playing. But, it just shows you that these big teams, they're not great.
No, and they need to settle in. They need to find their right formations, their right teams, don't they? Like you say. I mean, the Chelsea transfer, who at the moment is sniffing around a Man United player who can't get in the team? It can only be Chelsea, can it? So that's one of those transfers that you could see go horribly wrong, and him leaving in May with playing about 3 times. So we are going for Fulham. Let me get you the best price. 5-1. Again, that's just massive, isn't it? So 5-1, that's a 12:30 kickoff. And in the game of the season so far, the pivotal match, Del is going for Arsenal all the way. And of course, Del Boy on week 1, if you didn't see it, where were you? See me at the end. Gave basically a maximum bet on Arsenal to win the title against his beloved Liverpool and all other teams. So, of course, this is the first game to really test that theory. And 23-10, AK bets 9-4, pretty much across the board if you're going to row in with Dell. And if you did row in with Dell on the 2 games on something for the weekend, you've got an 11-2. And just under 6-4 winner. So you had it right off at the bookmaker's expense. Now, if you do want to join the McGuvnor service, look at all the links below. You can come in for this weekend and have a look. Macca's Acker will be in there. 4 teams, 4 results. Stick them all together and let's see if we can clear the board. So, Del, I suppose as a Liverpool fan, my last question to you today would be, how are you going to feel about half 3, quarter 4? A little bit nervy for your team?
What, for the match on this weekend, or generally?
Yeah, I mean, taking the betting out of it, just as a pure Liverpool fan, are you going to be slightly concerned?
Well, no, I'll be back in Arsenal. Sorry, Liverpool fans. I'll be back in Arsenal. I think it's a 10-star bet. I'm so confident. I mean, all right then. Say I wasn't already on Arsenal and I wasn't going to have a bet.
Yeah, let's just be pure fandom. Yeah.
Yeah, they've brought in a lot of new players, and the players on paper look great. I mean, Florian Wirtz, I think, will be a great sign for them. Right now, he isn't playing like that. He's taking time to adapt. Jeremy Ping Pong is injured, I think. Kirk as the left back has been poor. And Ekatike, I suppose, has been the only big hit because of his goals. But I still need to see a bit more of him before I give my verdict. So, and also when you're bringing in so many players in one fell swoop, it takes time to gel. They're not going to be hits overnight, and so you can probably understand why Liverpool have not been fully at it. But that's the time to take them on, I would suggest. I just think Arsenal a massive price this weekend.
Yeah. There you go, folks. So this is going to be a key weekend, and please do get involved with that McGuvnor service at the links below if you want. We think it will be a fantastic addition to your football punting. Now, the really bad news, which is going to upset a lot of people, is there will be no something for the weekend next week, as the Premier League is off for the incredibly fascinating international weekend. If I could have if the genie stopped me tomorrow now and give me one wish, it would be to end international football forever. I don't know about you, but I cannot think of anything more boring than watching anything next Saturday. So hang on for the Premier League. Or are you a closet international football fan, Del?
Oh God, no. I used to be. I used to. 3 years away from the World Cup, I'd be praying for the next one to come along. Next World Cup, I don't think I would even be bothered watching it. It's so drab, international football, especially when England are playing. I just hate it. And I'm with you. If there's a campaign to ban it, I'll join. Let's ban it.
Right. Well, so far I've got me and you, but I'm confident of a third buy in about 6 months. So we're on our way, Del. We're on our way. So, folks, have a great weekend. Let's hope Arsenal win. As an Everton fan, I've never said that phrase with such passion and belief. Let's hope Arsenal win. Let's hope we're right. And Fulham have been grossly disrespected by the layers with a 5-1 offer. And we land at 2 more winners. So, Del, enjoy the break. Bad news, you might be seeing me next Saturday, so I'll do my best to spoil that if I can. But good luck this weekend, mate, and let's hope we land another 2 out of 2.
Cheers, Simon. Speak soon.
Cheers, guys. Bye for now.
Something for the weekend?